And I introduce our dear Paulina Nowak, who has been working with University West on exactly this topic, looking deeper into the collaboration happening within the hubs, but also within SIRR. So she has, let's say, structured her presentation in 4 questions. She'll be picking up in a second. How do the hubs interpret the aims of the SIRR project, which is a project with very ambitious, very broad aims and goals? Then the nature of the collaboration among the hubs in this initial stage of the project, the collaboration with their network, the actor stakeholder network. That's how she names it, external collaboration, and also how the hubs understand their roles and participation in the project. And with this, my introduction is finished, and I hand over to Paulina, who will be sharing her screen with the presentation.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank
hello.
you for preparing that.
Yes, my name is Paulina, as you mentioned, and I think everybody from the Hubs manager, they kind of know me by now, since I was bugging them a lot a few months back with all these questions for the interviews. And I hope you can see the presentation now. Please confirm.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So as I mentioned, I was bugging a lot, asking questions. And the presentation, today's presentation, how it plays out in practice, is an insight to the report that is a result of my internship and of those interviews. So I would like to show exactly this some key points of the report that hopefully will be useful for the partners. So here are the agenda, as Alistair introduced, all those 4 questions that we will talk about. So those are the main questions. The interviews were kind of constructed into those. We're falling into those 3 categories: SIRR, the overall project level; SIRR, the individual hub level; and then the reflection and learning. So those are the main questions from all those 3 categories that we will talk about today. So here, just like as a reminder, we have 12 partners from 4 countries and overall 8 hubs. So here in this slide, you can see I circle the blue, the experience hubs that have been up and running for quite some time. So we have Sotenas, we have Skien, we have Lesso, and we have Trendy in Germany. And then the pink one are those who just opened up recently. So Lycicil, we have Stanovat, Together, Agency for Urban Planning and CCPL, and Luvinia. So the project is co-funded by European Union with a quite big budget. It kicked off, happened to be in February 2023, and its proposal is lasting till 2027. Yes, so here just also as to have it all together, here is the main objective of the project. So we have stronger, more resilient and sustainable rural areas with higher capacity of local innovation, green and circular economy, and knowledge partnership. Local cohesion is stronger and acts as an alternative to urbanization. Local hubs connect companies, associations, and citizens in the innovation ecosystem, social innovation, and green transition. Well, meaning the goal is quite big. The time of the project is limited, and the matter is not made easier by the fact that the partners they are very diverse. Some of them they've been working together for quite some time. Others are completely new, and the project itself is I would say quite complex. And the concept of multi-helix or multiple helix collaboration, I believe, has given or is still giving partners some nightmares and explaining what stands behind it to figure out what it's all about. I believe it's quite challenging. So therefore, the questions in the interview were quite broad, I would say, and allowed the representative to speak freely, and in such a way also to answer the first question. So how do the hubs interpret the aim of the SIRR project? So the answers came down to the following points: increasing the involvement of civil society, coming up with sustainable solutions in social, economic, and environmental sphere, developing methods and tools enabling sustainable transformation, then answering the question how to use actually the resources that local communities have. And the one that I put the question mark, decoding this multiple helix collaboration. So who participates in it and how it's supposed to work. So the very important thing that showed up during the interviews was the concept of fairness. So since the motto of the project is all on board in rural societies for a fair future, then no one can be left behind. But how to actually create those fair chances? Well, the partners answered through collaboration. So the collaboration in the project, I would say, is the first step, but it doesn't end there. The partners must go beyond the project so that even when SIRR finishes, they can still keep contacting each other. They are exchanging knowledge and experience. There are many similarities between the partners. They deal with similar issues, but how they approach them, it's quite different sometimes. So these differences must be emphasized more in order to actually learn specific lessons together. Trying to answer the question, what is the nature of collaboration among the hubs at the initial stage of the project, the partners provided, first of all, the tools that they are currently using, which are, of course, work packages meetings on Microsoft Teams, financial group meetings, phone calls, emails, planned once or twice a year conferences. However, greater integration is very much needed. The trust among the partners is yet to be developed. And for example, VP1 and 2 leaders, Sotenas and Scan, they have been working together for like 20 years now. So they have this well-established level of trust, but rarely does anyone take the initiative from the other partners to contact the others without participation of VP1 and VP2 leaders, despite the fact that in the interviews everybody was showing the willingness to do so, but not much has been done in thinking about it. So the question is, why? What is more, it was also mentioned in the interviews to help kind of maybe help the hubs better collaborate and build those stronger ties, to create those smaller networks inside SIRR to discuss specific topics that actually concern the hubs. And the same goes with the idea of creating the Nordic Triangle, since some of the hubs are situated in the coastal areas. So the Nordic Triangle would link them more, the hubs in Sotenas, Skien, Leso, and the Sicily. And actually they could talk more about the topics that actually concerns only them, not other partners in SIRR. So what other things has been noticed in the interview is the prevailing national level of collaboration. So French partners, for example, emphasize that there might be some kind of communication difficulties, language barriers, or other issues. Danish partners and Swedish partners, they have the so-called national coordination meetings. Well, trendy in that case is the only hub in Germany, so it's a little bit left alone. But still, the conclusion is the national level of collaboration wins over the international one. It is simply easier to organize everything nationally. But it doesn't mean that the partners don't want to expand the collaboration. To make it more understandable and simple, the idea of creating this kind of hub specific activity document was proposed in one of the interviews. So this document would provide information about what is going on at the moment in the hub, what initiative they are taking, what are the areas of specialty, what I think some of the partners might not know actually, and what kind of solutions they have implemented so far. So there are many things that could inspire other partners, but I feel that they don't share that much maybe during the VP1, VP2 meetings. So even though the information is flowing between the partners, thanks to those VP meetings, the exchange of knowledge transfer is still pretty much underdeveloped in that case. Before talking more about external collaboration, here you can see the results of the first survey, focusing directly on the user groups participating in innovation activities in and around the hub. So those are overall results from all the hubs together. So you can see strongly involved, the most visible are local regional authorities, small and medium-sized enterprises, entrepreneurs starting up, individual citizens without specific affiliation, public development agencies, community, civil society groups, and associations. And hardly involved are sectoral regional business associations, environmental and nature conservation groups, ICT mobile workers, big enterprises and corporations, financial institutions, and ICT enthusiasts and other hobbies. So these are the groups that are hardly involved that should be maybe more focused on, and the results are available to all the hubs, all the partners, so they can always take a look and see how it goes and maybe what to fix, how to strengthen ties with those who are somewhat involved. Yeah, so those results are available for everybody. And here. Here you can see more about the external collaboration. So it's connected to the question: how do the hubs engage in collaboration with actors outside SIRR? So it has been noted in interviews that experienced hubs that I mentioned collaborate first of all with academia, and businesses, and the newcomer hubs focus more on civil society, local businesses, and municipalities. Some of the hubs, they have already well-developed, tested methods and tools of collaboration, such as you can see file sharing surveys, workshops, online platform reports. Others, they're still thinking about a strategy, how to approach different stakeholders, what should be done in that matter. So one thing was clear for all the partners: they have to offer some kind of values. So they need to convince the stakeholders that that they will get something out of this partnership. So as Tina Gottlieb emphasized in the interview, collaboration could sometimes be of equal value as doing a good business. So this win-win situation needs to be more highlighted by the partners. And what has been noticed also in the interviews as well as in the survey is the fact that you can also find it in the poster that was sent to you, that Agency for Urban Planning is not very experienced in working with economic sector. Trendy and Lavinia have problems with involving small and medium-sized enterprises. Skyline and CCPL have issues with collaborating with the public authorities. Sotenas and Training are pretty much missing civil society, and overall French partners that lack academia, which is a kind of historical French problem. So it has been confirmed not only with the interviews, but also with the survey. So those are the stakeholders that are kind of missing in the collaboration. Here you can see the confirmation of also what I already said. This is the results of the survey of the hubs in SIRR, Inner Circle. So you can see the experienced hubs, they have very well developed triple helix model, consisting of course, the public sector, the private sector, and the academia. They are not only visible, but they are very much involved, they are proactive, and they have an actual influence. Comparing to the younger hubs, in the younger hubs, the public sector and civil society are very visible and have quite high level of influence. However, there is nothing any helix-based model, and the involvement and proactivity of other actors, sectors are pretty much low. So those are the sectors that need to be improved, and to move further, the triple helix needs to be developed so that actually the main goal of this year that will be fulfilled. So creating this multiple helix collaboration. So this is also, like as I said, confirmation of what the interview said. Here, just for more like to see, it's available. This table is available in the report. So I would very much appreciate if the partners could find some time. It is available on Microsoft Teams. in VP3 files, so they can always enter to Empirics and see the report and comment on this table to make changes to strength, challenges. Do you agree with this? Do you disagree with this? What should be added? What should be deleted? That will be very helpful, I think, for everybody, because it just gathers all the knowledge, let's say, and it's easy to compare. It's easy to see how the others are thinking, what are the connections and what are the differences between the partners. So if the project partners, they have some time, they can always open the file with the report and make some changes, give some comments to the report, and yeah, so we can fix it. And finally, the answer to the last question was provided, which is how do the hubs understand and assess their role and participation in the project? And the following answers were given. So Sotenas see hub as a promoter of green transition. Let's say it's overall, I would say. Skagen sees hub as a place where problems will be solved and innovative implemented. For LESO hub is a network expander. Then we have Trendy hub as a think tank where ideas can meet and be developed. For Stanford hub as an example of innovative change, since they themselves went through the change from the factory to museum, and right now this innovative hub. Then Lycée hub as a facilitator and should be perceived as the whole municipality. And then for French partners, all agree that hub is a place that makes people more inclusive and should promote consultations with citizens. So overall, hub should be a place that raises awareness among the citizens. So this is how the project managers, the hub managers, they saw their hubs overall, how they understood. So you see there are a lot of connections. They understand it quite similarly, but still the definitions when talking about it were different. Here, without giving like a specific conclusion to this presentation, I would rather maybe give some recommendations, something that I already mentioned also in this presentation. So I believe that the partners, they can learn a lot from each other, and there are things. One of the things that they can learn actually is the symbiosis, social and industrial symbiosis map. So we discussed it with Alistair, and the idea was just to maybe adjust the map to the needs of the partners in SIRR that would easily follow the collaboration processes and promote symbiosis, taking the most from the resources they actually have. So the question more to Sotenas is how actually develop this kind of map, because this is a very innovative idea, and if it could be adjusted to the other partners, if they could create this kind of map, that would be very helpful for sure for them. The document that I already mentioned also before, and the internal collaboration that will keep partners updated about the activities, I think it would be easier to understand, to follow up, than sometimes what it's being said during the VP1, VP2 meetings. So I think as long as the partners would engage in updating this document, it would very much benefit them. They could maybe understand each other a little bit better without chaos. It would be everything organized. And I know that the partners, they have other projects that they participate in, they're involved in, but I think SIRR has a huge potential, and just not taking the most out of this partnership is a waste. So as it was emphasized, the goal is big, the time is limited, the collaboration on both national, but the collaboration on both national and international level would if it would keep going after the project finishes, it could actually bring something good to overall rural areas. So these partners should keep in mind and pay more attention, because I saw in interviews that there is the willingness to contact each other, but more must be done in this matter. And finally, when it comes to the tools that could facilitate the collaboration with different stakeholders, I know it might sound a little bit silly, but some simple Google research, it's extremely helpful sometimes. And there are a lot of platforms that can be used just to keep the people updated all the times, and some of them more simple even than Microsoft Teams, so that it would be easier just to have this constant flow of information instead of for example, being surprised during the annual meetings. And I know it must be very hard to organize other stakeholders because the time also they have very limited. So yeah, but this kind of platforms that could be constantly updated also would bring a lot good, I think, to the collaboration overall. So yeah, I guess that's all from me. Thank you so much for your time and for your attention. If you have any question, it would be great to discuss.
Great. A lot of digital clapping going on. Thanks for your presentation and this condensed summary of what you found out. For whoever hasn't looked into the report yet, I posted the link to the folder where you will find the report and a poster also summarizing the findings. The report goes a few steps deeper, so it will be great for the project and for Paulina if you, especially hub managers, have a look at it and make some comments, remarks, so we can then publish it maybe in 2 weeks' time on our website. But now is the time for discussions. 11:30 was our goal, to leave at least 30 minutes to discuss and exchange, and we made it. So thanks very much, Paulina. We know that some of you already have some questions prepared, so please go ahead. We have Holo House as number one. Please use the raise hand function. It makes it a bit easier to moderate. Hello, Miriam. Hello, Marcelo.
Hello. Hello. I think this is really great. Yeah. Thank you, Paulina. Very, a good job done.
Thank you so
Very
much.
clear, and I like that you are a little bit stringent. That huge potential, and then I think where we come in is that we kind of particularly like if there is a sort of barrier towards contacting each other outside the national arena, then I think digital tools are not too bad. And we do have the e-learning courses that we can also moderate and do like digital workshops and stuff like that, especially also to latch on to civil society. But we were also thinking like we have a role at Whole House to also be sort of available for sustainability questions. And it could be in the partnership, but I can also, sort of see that we can welcome any type of, from any kind of company, or unless it's like, do a sustainability report for us. That could be maybe something we say, yeah. But, like, and then we could also use maybe what you were suggesting in the end, like some sort of digital platform that, you can raise a question. Maybe we can do that on the SIRR website, or I don't know. But that they don't have to contact us personally. Maybe there would be like a sort of like a resistance to do that, but they might have something, and we can get it to to our attention, and we can deal with it. Because right now we have no contact from anyone about any sort of sustainability issue, and I think that's not right. We haven't figured it all out yet. so maybe something like that could work.
I was also thinking, like from you had a table in the end with the different issues that you identified. I think that it would be good to break those issues down even further, maybe with a student or something, to see what are the barriers of entry, like what are the things that people themselves feel are complicated in getting into this project, so that we can, make those into sub goals, work with those, so that we can simplify it to the point where it's even easier to become a part of this, and also even easier for everyone to feel like they can contact each other. I think the platforms you mentioned are, of course, one way, but there are probably a lot of more ways that you could do it. And identifying those ways is definitely something that should and could be done. I don't know if someone else has already started that work, but I think that that would be very useful and very good, because when it comes to engaging young and elderly, for example, that is always something that's important to do, because if it's a digital platform, we might have new problems, issues that we need to work with. So yeah, identifying barriers, I think, is a good way, and how to solve them. I don't know if you had any other
No,
thoughts.
thank you.
Thanks very much for that contribution. I'm taking some notes. And the next person is Stina from Sotenäs, please.
Yes. Yeah, and thank you for a very good presentation, Paulina. And I must say it was, I mean, it's always valuable to have this kind of study. And also since, I mean, Sotenäs and I was one of the ones who got interviewed, I must say it's always valuable to be part of studies like this, because it forces yourself to actually think about how do we do things, why do we do things, because in everyday work we just go forward, and it gives you like the inner focus on how, why, and what. So I mean, a really good report and a really good interview, because it gives not only reflections to things to take outside of the SIRR partnerships, but also reflections that you take within your own organization.
Yeah, I feel that Sotenäs very much the reflection aspect was very important, and for me as a work integrated political studies student, it was interesting to see actually this reflection, not only the process, the final result, but the process itself, going to reaching the point that to actually develop this Hellis-based models, also how to do this, not just focusing on the goal. There is the process, the entire process that I have to go through. So it was interesting for me too.
Yeah. Sometimes we need to be reminded of the process. So that's really good.
Thank you, Stina. Any more contributions, questions? What is puzzling you about her report and presentation? Emma, please.
Yeah, thanks. Just follow up after Stina, and thank you very much, Paulina, for such a great job and good presentation. Like Stina said, it's so valuable both for the project but also for the hubs, and I found it so interesting just to read also how the hubs or project managers describe their hub, what their hub is, you know, because that's also different in the different regions or the different partners. And also how you started this seminar, Alistair, with collaboration. It's all about collaboration. And when you put this symbiosis network up there in your presentation from Sotenäs, the Center of Symbiosis, and all I had in my mind was collaboration. And collaboration, it takes time. It's about trust, exactly like you said, and it's tricky when there's like so complex with so many different actors. And I found it really interesting also what you mentioned in the beginning. Okay, how can we make sure also that the hubs collaborate, after the project, not only during the project? And how do we found the structure? How do we build those kind of collaborations so we make sure that happens? But also one question, and it could be also be answered by different people here in the group, but I found it really interesting when it comes to the nature of collaborations with different stakeholders and how the local culture affects that. Was that something when you interviewed the local project manager, like some main takeaways or something that came up in your mind that you thought was really interesting to dig deeper into? Or
I think the thing that I mentioned, the values, like what kind of values they can offer, like thinking about it broadly, the meaning of this word is, it can be understood very differently from the hubs, but it wasn't that much, let's say, developed in the interviews. I believe like it could be more thinking about the external actors, the stakeholders, what actually they can offer, how to offer this. And as I mentioned, the specific goal, the specific objective of the project is big. So it has to be all the time emphasized, it's very big. The time is quite limited. So it has to be also approached, communicated to the other stakeholders. Because what I've also noticed, like some partners, they, when asking, do the people around, do they know about SIRR? Yes, we tried for sure. The stakeholders, they know, but we don't know exactly who else, because we haven't yet done anything more. Like we didn't dig that deeper. Some of them, they're more focused on the, like most of them actually focus more on the strategy directly, just coming up with the strategy. But the doing part is still kind of like a little bit messy. So I think that's the issue. And this doing things, like it's not like it has to be prepared. I think it's not like it has to be, everything has to be prepared, the strategy must be done, then going further, then moving further to different stages. It can be also happening all the time. Like, and with Cecile, it was actually very nice, the interview, because it is even just talking to people randomly, going to shop and just talking to them randomly and explaining some stuff about the project, about sustainability, about everything else. I think it's a good idea, approaching directly citizens also.
Stina, may I jump the line, because I have a remark on something that was just said. I know you raised your hand before me.
Because it's you, Alistair.
Yeah. Not because it's the 8th of March. Okay. No, a language issue here, because and this is also a question to Paulina. I picked up in the report that collaboration should have or should be based on values, but question mark, and this is my language issue, is it about the value proposition? What do you bring in? What do you take out? Or is it about, let's say, core personal values? Is it about authenticity, happiness? It's different what we're talking about. And I'm not really sure what we're talking about.
It was more in the interviews, it was more like what the project is offering, in a broad meaning of this word. What is the project offering?
Okay, like added
overall
value, maybe.
Yes, yeah, added value. In the report is written added value there, so it's
okay.
more even clearer there. So I guess that's the point.
Okay. That was only my
yeah, and I
my
remember
question.
that, yes, that language is a kind of issue, because as I mentioned in the presentation, like sometimes it can be, for example, the VP meetings can be a little bit chaotic, or going another topic or something not that is concerning everybody. So also sometimes it's just maybe also it's easy to lose what's going on there. So that's why I think the idea of this document, the other platforms, showed up in the interviews.
I see. Yeah, just to finish off, the connection of this added value question to the symbiosis map you showed in Sotenas, the very brief superficial idea we discussed was that it could be interesting to develop a little tool or a guide on how to paint, develop a social industrial collaboration symbiosis map for new partnerships, or just not so much to already map what exists, but also to kind of discover what institution, organization, person could need and could give to others, from others to others. That could be an interesting little tool, but still to be developed. Sorry, and that was it, Stina. Now you're next.
Yeah, and I mean, just to jump back on the symbiosis map, because I mean, really what it's, for us, it's a part of the concept we have. But I mean, basically, it's it's a map that shows some of our specific stakeholders. Not all of them, but some, like down to detail. And I mean, that could be, that kind of map, I guess, could be created with anyone that you are working particularly close to. It could be, I mean, we could put University West on that map in another type of map, for example. Yeah, but just to jump back to why I raised my hand, because you had the picture of the different hubs and how, where we have our strength. And I really enjoyed that you said, I mean, like the new hubs and the old hubs, because that's the reflection I have had as well. I mean, when we said we're going to have SIRR, it was about promoting innovation, promoting the multi-helix model. And I mean, Sotenäs is one of the more mature hubs, and we are quite good at working with innovation, the businesses, the academia, the regional innovation system, but we completely lack the connection to civil society. And all of the new hubs basically are really good at working with the civil society. They have a specific focus on it, but maybe then they lack the connection to academia or innovation. So it's, I guess it could be a reflection of, I mean, when we more mature hubs started our work, the triple helix was really what to focus on. And today it's a new world, so to speak, and new focuses. So it's interesting to see that that kind of corresponds to how I have reflected in SIRR, that it looks like this. And also it's important to connect not only the hubs to each other, but the concept new hubs and old hubs, because we have a lot of different understanding and strength and can really help each other.
I think even you mentioned this also in the interview, how the sustainability is understood by the newer hubs and how it's understood by the experienced hubs. Like, for example, the French partners are more the social sustainability. Then we have more the environmental sustainability, the experience hub, or the economic one. So it was also interesting to see the differences and in just the meaning of the sustainability itself. So yeah, I think it's a good thing to reflect for sure.
Excuse me, taking notes. I think it's Holohouse next.
Yeah, and I was just thinking also, Alistair and everyone, that the formal parts of this project, of course, they are very important. You know, our meetings, you know, partner meetings and hub meetings and all that. But to have a successful project, in my mind, you also need to have a little bit more ad hoc, informal activity. And it has to be really easy to reach us. And also, you know, like sort of, yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be, you know, a lot of hurdles and barriers to, you know, get their answers, questions answered. So then a suggestion from my point is that, you know, like from our part, Holohouse, we would be very happy to get questions also in the national languages. It doesn't have to be English. So, you know, if anyone wants to pop a question or a query or whatever, you know, send a mail or whatever in French, Danish, German, that's fine. You know, we try DeepL, ChatGPT also works very fine, you know, and we have some language knowledges in the team. If that could be maybe a hurdle, let's dismantle that. You know, make it as easy as possible. So I think this would, I don't know how to communicate that. Maybe that's for Skagen Group also to think about. I think we should make as soon as possible steps to make it easy to reach us. And another question I was also, not a question, but more like a reflection to what you said, Paulina, about some of the results you had with the French interviews, that, you know, they are not so used to working with academia. And I think I raised that, Alistair, at one of the VP3 meetings, that why don't they, participate in our group? And they could also, use us, and they could also use University West. I mean, we have 3 different kind of possibilities here for them to get warm and to get that, if that's a restriction, a limitation for them. Okay, thank you.
I also asked something in the chat. I don't know if you've seen it, but I asked, let's see what I wrote. It's easier to say it if I read it out. If you could give us one, yeah, if you could give us one tip on something we could start or take action on already tomorrow, like a low-hanging fruit of sorts, what would that be, Paulina? Because you probably identified something that you were like, okay, but this they could probably do already tomorrow if they wanted to.
I think the very simple thing, which is contacting. I think that's the thing, just contacting, because I'm sure that they have some kind of issues, some kind of topic that they would like to discover more, they would like to talk more about, but that's the thing, talking about doing this is one thing and doing this is the other. So I think just even tomorrow, even today, just contact with what is the issue. And I went through the course of House, the sustainability course, and I found it very interesting because it was connected also with the idea that there was the idea of the cars, the sustainable idea to rent this and then just exchange. So this is also could be connected to the symbiosis map that the hubs might create with what they have. So maybe just seek for help in that matter.
Okay. Skagen, please.
Paulina, I think that maybe you have found something very interesting in your report, because you have made this between the old and the new hubs. And as I see it, you also change the group that you are working with and you are working for. The old hubs are maybe having strong connection to the ordinary system. And as I see the ordinary system in Denmark, for some people it's not working. At the same time, we have lost our ground. Why did we make this organization? So maybe this process actually are circular. If you want to have a hub who can live forever, then you have to be aware of the circular way going from a new hub to an old hub. Because when you know what is the truth for people, you're losing somebody. Because it's fit not for everybody, no matter what you are doing. So I see it more as a circular way going from a new hub to an old hub, going back to a new hub, because you are changing the way you're working, you're changing the group you're working for. Please look at that if you look deeper into this, if there is something in this. I think there are.
I would love to see the collaboration more, how it works, because this is kind of topic of my thesis, so my master thesis. So what's the collaboration? There was the cooperation between the partners and how it works. So that's interesting. That's true that the older hub, they have this established this triple helix, but this is the old system. So it has to be all the time improved and make it more innovative.
Interesting discussion. May I comment that I'm not sure if the old way of doing things means that it is less or not so valid now. It's maybe a question of integrating old and new. I don't know. But there was another hand from, is it Michael from Skagen?
It's me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you, please.
Now, when we have the floor, we need to say something, both of us.
Always.
Yeah. But just a comment on the complexity, because I don't think we should be surprised that this is complex. And I think we knew from the beginning when we set out and we used this idea about a multi-helix approach that we knew it would be complex. And it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it, and then there would be no money for us to dive into this. So we sometimes you also just need to embrace the complexity and see it as our challenge, that this is something that needs our resources to find better solutions. In fact, I think we love complexity. And if it's not complex, we will certainly make it more complex.
You're in charge.
Exactly. And then let's not forget that this is also, luckily, a longer project. And I think we do need this specifically also because we don't challenge just the complexity of the way we work, but we also have the complexity in the partnership where we work with different languages and different cultures too, and different ways of having networks and working together on subjects. So we just need to acknowledge that this is something that takes a little time, and we luckily have that in our project.
Yeah, I think so too. We are lucky to be able to work on this a few years still to come. May I say before I give the floor to Carl Martin that I'd be delighted to hear what, for example, Louise is thinking, and Iki is thinking, and Clémence, and Anne. So, Carl Martin.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Paulina, thank you very much for the this presentation. I have one question. I'll start a little bit with other things. I have my students from time to time doing network maps, and sometimes they come up with funny ideas. And one of these funny ideas was to have a map, network map, and then in this the different partners or the different hubs and on the different partners are categorized in. There are natural partners that need to be part of the network as it is their issue. So you have in the part of environment, for example, of course, you have the public administration dealing with it, but also we also say civil society with it. Another idea was to have something which is called the automatic partners, what they call the automatic partners. Well, for example, here in our region here, whenever the farmers' union is doing something, the environmentalists will do something as well. So they will join the network as well. And the third category were the voluntary partners, so somebody who would really be interested in the issue there. So my question would be, is there any kind of mechanic in the development of these kinds of in this kind of creation of the networks that somebody must be on as somebody else is on, which would actually give for me a different kind of perspective to the look to the way we look onto the hubs. So if there is any kind of a mechanic behind it, obviously the hubs would develop differently. So I'm not sure whether you have any answer to that kind of question. It just came up as I looked through some of my bachelor and master thesis. Thanks.
I don't know
Paulina.
if I would be the one that would answer the question. I think that would be more for the hub directly with the what if they have something like this. But I believe that there are some kind of partners that are necessary to be included in the partnership. Of course, the more the merrier. So, and that's I think the point of SIRR, to create this kind of multiple here collaboration, but collaborating with many partners, it must be extremely difficult to organize itself. So there must the pickiness there must be at some point, I think, thinking about who could actually contribute the most also and how to contribute, I think.
Yeah, exactly. This rise in complexity and resource consumption is what came out in the first questionnaire as a barrier or a worry of the hubs in terms or expecting that to happen when they evolute. They move forward towards a multi or multiple helix approach. If they already feel maybe on the limit of resources, then it is a bit of a question mark. How can they do that as a multi-helix approach? I repeat, I'd be very happy to hear what our hub representatives have to say from France, from Denmark. Nobody from Germany here, but yeah. First of all, Stina, and then I'd love to hear some other voices.
Yeah, so I will be quick because I already spoken a lot. But when you presented, I mean, because of course you had these supervisors at the university and other researchers. What reactions did you get from them when you presented the work? I guess some of them might not be so involved in SIRR. What did they say about these local attempts to do things in another way?
But who exactly?
Yeah, I'm just thinking if you presented it to, I mean, I guess you've been talking to Perasmo and Vilma. Did you present it to anyone else?
This presentation was not presented. So maybe the consultation that is there about what can be included in the presentation also, if there's something else, but it wasn't more let's say I didn't go deeper in the showing this to the university in that case.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Per Asmo, please.
Yes, I can just make a very quick comment. It's formally what Paulina is doing is what is called a research internship. It's a course module where she works together and with an organization. One of the formal examination components is actually this seminar. So this is not for the sake of the university, it is for the sake of the host, which in this case is SIRR. So this is why I actually sit here as an examiner, more or less today, and trying to keep quiet. But I can say that it's brilliantly done, Paulina. And also we can add on that the following phase where Paulina, where you now is to dig deeper into this, into coming in up with a master thesis, focusing on the similarities and questions raised here. And greatly looking forward where she can come back and present another one in June or something when the master thesis is done, when we get even more knowledge in this case. Thank you so much, Paulina. Great work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, super. So we've nearly reached 12 o'clock, which was the time period we had set for today's meeting. Any further questions, comments? Yeah, Anne has commented in the chat. Last chance to ask questions for Paulina. To Paulina. Please try. Jens is up for the job. Please give it a go. Jens Rulle.
You get both picture and microphone. But the thing is that for Paulina, then if she's doing a masterpiece, she's most welcome to take some time and visit on Læsø, and then finding out how an old, actually quite innovative, because we need to be innovative, because that is actually the case here. That is that we are talking about old kind of multi-helix or hub structures, and we actually are very old structure. But that is also because we need to be. But the thing is actually not, it is also combining old and new, but it's also to be innovative. You need to be constantly innovative in building your hub and adapting to the changes that are around you, because it is really multiple, I would say, stakeholder management that you are into, and as part of that, I think you have brought some structure to what we are talking about, and that I think is very good. And you are, as I said, I don't know how you're doing your master, but please feel free to be welcome to visit us for a few months. Then we will bring you into how we work in the daily work, and that is actually quite complex, and change is all over us every day, and that's also why we are talking resources. But the resources may be that how can we have resources to look more into getting this structure, because we might not, our resources are of course filled out with the things that we do in the hub, and that is maybe we have to have some more resources to be released somehow to look into how to build this, you could say, illustrative multi-helix model and all that, and that is where we struggle to get the resources to get that done, because we actually have it. So it could be a test case. You're most welcome if you want to do that.
Thank you so much. I think this is a very interesting example, because since this is an island, so overall, I'm very curious about a collaboration. And I know that when I had the interview with Louise, she couldn't provide me all the things, all the information about how it works. So I would love to know more, that's for sure. I think that would be very useful for the thesis.
Super. Okay, well, don't worry. We are going to pick up on this discussion very soon in Stenvad. When we come together to our annual conference, we will be having a session about what have been found out up to now. It's I think you might have noticed in the presentation that words like perceptions or preliminary, etc., pop up here and there. So our proposal is to deep digger into the features, the what is really multi-helix and what is maybe not, in a participative session with you together when we sit in the great Stenvad Mosebrook Center, if I'm pronouncing this correctly. So yeah, I'd like to invite you to send us questions, ideas, proposals, whatever you have, whatever comes up in the coming weeks, and we'll try to integrate it in the session design. That's it for today. Have a nice weekend. And yeah, I will be sending you a follow-up email with the links, etc., so you get access to the recording, to the files and folders, etc. Bye-bye then. Have a